Massimo Rivola had the easy answer sitting right in front of him at Silverstone, and he refused to take it. Aprilia had just locked out the top three in qualifying, in the sprint and in the Grand Prix, the first time the factory has ever owned a weekend that completely. The easy answer was riders. 3 men in form, one of them leading the championship. Rivola went somewhere else. He pointed at aerodynamics and at what those aerodynamics do in the fastest corners on the calendar. That is not praise for his riders. That is a technical claim about where the RSGP is beating the Desmosedici. So why name your own weapon out loud? And why did Ducati spend the same weekend arguing with itself about whether that weapon is even real? Aprilia are not simply winning races. They lead the riders' standings, the constructors' standings, and the team's standings at the same time. Jorge Martin sits on 240 points, 31 clear of Marco Bezzecchi, 37 clear of Ai Ogura, 40 clear of the leading Ducati rider. 10 rounds are left. A factory that leads all 3 tables and can also tell you which part of the motorcycle is doing it is not riding a hot streak. It is describing a structure, and the part Rivola named happens to be the one area a rival cannot quietly rebuild in September and bolt on at the next race. Start with what happened. Raul Fernandez won it from Martin and Bezzecchi. Alex Marquez brought the first Ducati home in 4th, 4.7 seconds back, after throwing away a realistic podium with a braking error at turn 1. Marc Marquez finished 7th, 9.5 seconds behind, his best lap 7/10 slower than the winner. Pecco Bagnaia was 17th in the sprint, and then crashed out of the Grand Prix at Lewfield while running 15th. The factory Ducati team, the benchmark of this era, took 9 points from Sunday between 2 motorcycles. The paddock reached for the obvious explanation within minutes. Silverstone is fast and flowing. Aprilia have always gone well there, and every calendar has venues that flatter one bike and punish another. Rivola himself offered a version of that, saying there are tracks that fit his bike more and tracks that fit Ducati more. It is a tidy story, and it lets everybody arrive in Aragon pretending nothing structural happened. That story lasted about a day. Alex Marquez was the one holding the line. If you compare from the beginning of the year, the gap is much smaller, he said on Sunday, and he pushed it further. Honestly speaking, before coming here, I was expecting that Aprilia had more advantage, and we were close to them. So I'm happy for that. Listen to what he is actually claiming. Not that Ducati were fast, that Ducati were less slow than he feared. The numbers refused to back him. Marc Marquez left Silverstone 40 points behind Martin. He was 40 points behind after Assen too. The Saxon Ring has been raced in between, a summer of development signed off, and the deficit has not moved by a single point. And there is a harder problem with Alex Marquez as Ducati's witness. On Saturday, asked whether a Ducati could fight the Aprilias across a full race distance, the same rider said it was impossible to be there. Same weekend. Same man. The gap is much smaller, and it is impossible to be there. And oh yeah, there is one more piece of this that nobody stacked next to Rivola's answer. Over the summer break, the concession rankings were recalculated, and Ducati dropped out of Rank A for the first time since the system arrived in 2024, missing the threshold by roughly half a percentage point. Aprilia climbed the other way, up out of Rank C. Both factories now sit in Rank B, and in Rank B, a manufacturer is allowed 1 aerodynamic update per rider for the entire season. 1. Ranks A, B and C all live under that ceiling. Only Rank D, where Honda and Yamaha sit, gets 2. So when Gigi Dall'Igna finally spoke, he was not describing a bad Sunday. Ducati's technical boss said his riders were never really in the running, and that we never found a competitive pace for several reasons, and we always lacked the right feel for the bike. Feel is the word to hold on to. A tyre choice is fixable by Friday. Feel is the motorcycle. His riders backed him, not their 4th place man. Bagnaia's summary of the factory garage was brutal. Me and Marc were the slowest riders in the last laps. Marc Marquez described a rear tyre that started falling away far earlier for him than for the riders around him. And Fabio Quartararo watching from a Yamaha, offered the mechanism Ducati would not. He believes Aprilia are running lower rear tyre temperatures than anyone else, which is the moment Rivola's sentence stops sounding like a boast. Mainly high-speed cornering. I think we have an advantage on the aero side, and the faster the corners are, the more the aero works. A bike that carries corner speed on downforce slides less. A bike that slides less cooks its rear tyre less. Quartararo's theory and Rivola's admission are the same fact from two different garages. And this is where it stops being about Silverstone. This was Aprilia's third Grand Prix podium lockout of the season, after Le Mans and Assen, and its first ever sprint lockout on top. Look at what Assen and Silverstone share. Long, committed, high-speed corners. The exact corner type Rivola named as the aero window. Ducati's worst weekends of 2026 have arrived at the fast-flowing tracks their rival just told us the RSGP is built to exploit. So the story people accepted was a scheduling problem. One awkward venue on a long calendar, one tyre that went away. The real story is a homologation problem. This was never about a circuit that does not suit Ducati. It is about a category of corner Ducati cannot answer without spending its single permitted aerodynamic update of the season on a part it can never take back once it commits. That is what Alex Marquez's optimism cannot survive. He is measuring Ducati against February. Dall'Igna is measuring Ducati against the bike that beat his best finishing Ducati by nearly 5 seconds. Only one of those comparisons wins anything. Here is the verdict. Ducati's public position and its technical position are no longer the same position, and that split is not a media training slip. Alex Marquez, in a satellite Gresini garage, is honestly closer to Aprilia than he was in winter. Dall'Igna, the man who signs off the development plan, told the truth about what closer is worth, never in the running. Then the rulebook closes the door. Whatever aero answer Ducati builds now has an expiry date stamped on it. In 2027, the top of the front fairing narrows from 600mm to 550. The nose is pulled back 50mm, the rear body drops, and the class falls to 850 cubic centimetres. Make no mistake, that is the calculation inside Borgo Panigale right now. Burn the one update of 2026, chasing a strength that stops existing, or accept 10 more rounds of this and build for the reset. Rivola named the advantage out loud because naming it costs Aprilia nothing. He already knows what it cost Ducati to copy it. Aprilia did not hide their weapon at Silverstone. They announced it because the rules are the thing protecting it. So is Ducati's optimism real progress, or a factory measuring itself against the wrong motorcycle? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.